Blessed be everyone. Welcome to seeing if I'm on live. Welcome everybody to Mystery Witch School, to my YouTube channel, and to another live. And today we're going to be talking about, I've got essential Wiccan supplies, but they're not essential really. I've just put that there because that's I mean, some people sort of see it as essential, and I guess if you're looking for tools, they're pretty much in your toolkit, but at the same time, you don't absolutely need them either. So I'm going to talk about incenses, oils, and herbs for your practice. And you're going to find that there's probably a lot of them that repeat over and over and over again. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Spice Lover. Okay. And I apologize to some of those who may not have got my newsletter on Thursday or Wednesday night, whenever it was, because Thursday here was a crazy internet day. And I think it was all over the world with the eclipse. It was just communications with Mercury, the way it was insane. There was all sorts of crazy stuff going on. I don't know if anybody else experienced that on Wednesday, Thursday of last week, but it was crazy with that whole with Mercury energy. So yeah, let me know in the chat or the comments if you had some crazy things going on around the eclipse. So that was the Libra eclipse that we had. Okay, so for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome to the channel if you're watching the replay, or welcome to the replay. And you can still join in on the comments and whether you're on the chat or whether you're on the replay. If you want to know where to start your witchcraft practice, but you're still trying to figure that out, I have a free video. It's called How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice, and I'm just going to pop that in the chat. It's also in the comments field underneath the video, so you can go there to my free stuff underneath my video, and you will find a link to that, as well as some of the other free things I have, like the spellcaster checklist, for example. And you can also find it on my website, mysterywitchschool.com. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sandra, and on this channel we talk about all things Wicca, witchcraft, magic, tarot, and shadow work. I'm a big fan of shadow work and combining shadow work with magic, because that makes it all the more powerful. Now, this live came about because I had a few requests by people who were wanting to know, what tools do I need? What's essential for starting out in the craft? What do I need if I'm going to be gathering things? So I'm going to talk about some of the tools that we use a lot all the time, and just a little bit about the 4 tools that you've probably heard about, which is the tools that represent the 4 elements of the athame, the wand, the cup or chalice, and the pentacle. And I think I've already spoke about them recently anyway. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Tammy. Namaste. So we'll talk about those today. And let's get started. Now, as I said at the beginning, these aren't essential, but you're going to find that they're going to be pretty useful. And if you are wanting to set up a circle and you're wanting to do it in a way that, really feels like you're really getting into it, then you're going to need to use these in some way, shape, or form. And that's simply because when we use our tools do a couple of different things. They help us create sacred space. So the incenses, the oils, the herbs, they have a scent. We have to mix them up usually, or put them together, or, get them out. And when we're doing that, we're starting to focus on our purpose, our intention, and that might just be to do a ritual, or it might be to do a spell. And so we're getting all of our materials together. And when we get our materials together, we've already started the process. We've started creating sacred space in our mind, in our subconscious mind. And we started to feel into getting things ready to do something. So it's a psychological preparation. The tools definitely have a psychological connection. They're very powerful on a psychological level, and it's one of their functions. And just because it does affect us on a psychological level doesn't mean that it is unnecessary, doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything, because our psychology is everything. The way we think, the way we feel is everything. It's everything about us. And it's the huge, huge part of our ritual is to be there in our mind, in our heart, being there. And our tools help us do that. Now, they also create sacred space because of their properties. They vibrate at certain frequencies, and so their vibration is resonating with your vibration to create whatever it is that you're wanting to create. So when we're using tools, we're going to be using plants because plants have a certain frequency and a certain vibration. I mean, everything does. But plants have been with us for a very long time. They've been on the planet way longer than we have. And they're very clever. And so they have a lot of properties and a lot of vibration. They have a very strong consciousness. And we can tap into the energy of the plants and their consciousness when we're working with the herbs respectfully too, I think. I think sometimes plants get a little neglected in our psyche because they grow in the ground. They can't run away. They have to stay there. And so sometimes we sort of forget that they're conscious beings too, that they are wanting to protect themselves as well. And when we approach them to use them for ritual, then we need to thank them for giving us part of themselves in order to be able to work. We know that plants do feel in some way. They may not have a nervous system like we do, but they do experience stress. They communicate through their root system. So they're quite sophisticated creatures. They're just very different to ourselves. And when we're working with them, whether it's for incenses, for oils, or herbal remedies, or even just working with herbs with our magic, we have to come to them with respect and gratitude for what it is they are giving us and what it is they are offering us, and only take from them what we need. Okay. So, well, first off, we'll talk about incense, and I'll just ask a question before we start. Do you have a favorite incense that you love, that you use a lot, or it's your go-to incense? We all tend to be drawn to certain scents. I absolutely love dragon blood as an incense. I've always really been drawn to it, and I love using that for things like cleansing and for banishing. So it's one of my favorites. And I love working with frankincense as well because it's, I don't know, it has a very, very beautiful feel about it. And it's also quite protective and very, very linked with that higher vibration and consciousness. So just let me know. Hi. I'm glad I caught you live. Oh, great. Hi, Ms. West. Hi, Tawny. I really need to update my altar. My small altar is too tiny. Late, but still wanted to say hi and bright blessings. Awesome. Okay, so let's start with incense. Incense has been used for a very, very long time in a lot of cultures. Probably most cultures have used smoking or incense or smoking herbs and creating incenses for a very long time. And they're very, very sacred things, incenses, and I think we love using them. Some people can't tolerate them, of course. If you're sensitive to smoke, or you have a lung condition, then you may not be able to use incense. But for those of you who can use it, it's a wonderful way to really use the olfactory system to connect to the sacred space. So it's stimulating you on that olfactory level, so the sense of smell, and that affects your psychology. It affects how you feel. It affects your vibe. So the plant, when it's smoked, is affecting how you feel. So you're connecting to the energy of the plant while you're burning the incense and connecting to what its essence is. So it's used a lot for cleansing, especially at the beginning of a circle. So when we first go around the circle, we'll often cleanse the circle with the fire and air. And the fire and air, of course, is the incense itself, because we have to light the incense in order to get it to smoke. So we're combining the element of fire and we're combining the element of air. And we go around the circle and we cleanse the circle with the smoke and vibrate, start to resonate at that higher frequency. And I love using frankincense for those sorts of things, or dragon's blood. It really just depends on what I'm doing, who I'm working with. If I'm working with Hecate, I will work with frankincense and myrrh, because they're two top incenses to work with her. It really just depends. Different deities resonate with different incenses as well. So that's something that you can look up to. It's all on the internet. You can find anything on the internet these days. Hi, Joseph. It's not the size of the altar, it's how you use it. I've never used incense yet, but I really like vanilla and really like to try the lemongrass as well. Yep, awesome. I would like to use roses too. They do have rose incense. I've used rose incense for many, many, many years. I think actually rose incense was my very first incense I ever used, was rose. I wonder if they have a flavor-scented incense for sugar cookies. Look, I wouldn't be surprised. You can get some really crazy incenses out there now. I've heard of frankincense but never used it. So frankincense is a really old one. It used to be quite expensive. It's still expensive because it's a resin. It is a bottom note in the perfume scale, so it tends to have a scent that stays around a little bit longer than some of the top notes, like your lemongrass, for example, that was mentioned somewhere. That's a top note. And so it forms a beautiful base to incense, and also when we get onto essential oils, building essential oils and having essential oil blends. Frankincense can be great as a base note for that. So cleansing. We also use incense to consecrate our tools. So I recently did a video about consecrating your tools. Now, I think that might be the one that's coming out this week, either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on where you are in the world, where I go through and I show you how I consecrate my tools. And that's the 4 tools. That's the wand, the cup, the pentacle, and which one didn't I mention? The athame, and I'll talk about those later. And so I actually do a demonstration on how I cleanse those tools using the incense. But it's great for consecration as well. And consecration just means making sacred. It's claiming that that particular tool that you're using is going to be for this particular task. So you could consecrate your candles, for example, for a particular spell. Calling in the elements, we can use incense for calling in the element of air as well. And other things that we'd use incense for is in spell work. So if you're wanting to do a love spell, for example, it's the perfect time to use your rose incense and use that to help you feel into that energy of love. You've got the scent going, and you've also got that vibration of love going at the same time if you're using rose incense. You can also use dried herbs as your incense too and burn them on a charcoal block. The different types of incenses are generally that loose incense that you just sprinkle onto a charcoal block. The charcoal block really needs to be in sand to help with the heat, but you can just put it in a censer or sense it around. Now, that's quite smoky, very smoky. So if you're sensitive to smoke, it's probably not the best option. Great for outdoors, where the smoke can get away quite quickly. So if you're doing outdoor work, using a censer and asperging the area with a censer, that is great for outdoors and can help keep the mozzies away as well. You can also use cones. Cones don't give off as much smoke, but they give off more than sticks. So sticks are your little joss sticks that you can use, that you can pick up pretty much at most Magick stores and even dollar stores these days. And they give off the less amount of smoke. So if you're working indoors and you can't have a lot of smoke, then they're great for indoor work. They're the ones I go to all the time. I don't really use the others because I can't tolerate a lot of smoke. So I do tend to go for the sticks because they're just giving off less smoke and I'm not coughing and choking, which is always very helpful when you're doing a ritual. Okay, comments are going fast. I wonder. Rose incense are fabulous, yes. Hi, Brandon. I'm not sure I'm getting a whole lot of tools and items to use on my altar. You don't have to put everything out at once. In fact, I have something stored under my altar. Patchouli, camphor, frankincense, and incense I use most. Frankincense and patchouli can be used for many reasons. Absolutely. I think I need to get a bigger altar. A lot more stuff can fit on there. That's true. I mean, if you want to put more things on there, then yes, you would need a bigger altar. You can always just put a cloth on the floor, put a tile on the floor, or a couple of tiles on the floor and do it that way. I've done that. Like a despacho, if you're using like a fabric that's your altar base, and then you put everything on top of it. You can, yeah, just use the ground and do it that way. I've done that too. And when it comes to putting things on your altar, you only need to put on your altar what you need to put there. And if it is a bit on the small side, then just put the essential things there. Okay. Today I use rue, blossom, and clove blend. Lovely. Very interesting. Finished with lavender and was banishing and putting up protections. Awesome. Okay. Hi, Joe. Okay, so yes, they're the different types of incenses that you can get, and you can wave them around. So as you're going around your circle, you'd be waving them around. You can also consecrate yourself as well, or cleanse yourself by putting the incense around yourself. And when you're working in a coven environment or a group environment and everybody's entering into the circle, then often you would be censored, as in you'd be censed with or spurged with the incense around yourself, so that you're getting the smoke around yourself. And that acts as a cleansing and can help cleanse your energy. So that's always a very, very beautiful thing too. Okay. Now, some of the common scents we have been talking about already. I've talked about frankincense for working with Hecate and myrrh. Dragon's blood, sandalwood is another one that's very, very common in sacred circles. So sandalwood, we have Australian sandalwood here, so we have quite a bit of that here. So it's a very common one, sandalwood. You can use pretty much most incenses if you're just wanting to set up an ambience for your space, but look to the ones that have very cleansing properties. And pretty much all of the herbs that we use have cleansing properties to them. Most plants have some kind of antibacterial aspect to them. They have a lot of chemicals in them, plants, and so antibacterial, like trying to basically kill their predators, which is kind of the whole point of them having lots of different chemicals in them, is to try and stop themselves from being eaten, of course, which makes sense. And so they do have a lot of chemicals, and antibacterial is one that a lot of plants, if not all of them, have to some degree. So you can use a lot of the incenses for cleansing your circle and removing negative energy. Even rose, we associate rose, of course, with bringing in love and compassion, but what a better way to cleanse your circle than with love and compassion, because that would banish anything nasty, just simply because of the vibration of love and compassion being so much higher up here than any negative energy. So it's a beautiful banishing scent, because it's doing it in a very alchemical kind of way. So even rose can be used to cleanse your space if that's all you've got. So we're talking about rue, great for cleansing and banishing, and found in a corner store. Awesome. Repelling negativity and good for many things. I haven't used rue myself. Okay. So there are a lot of incenses I haven't used. We tend to go for certain incenses, and there's so many of them that it's hard to get through all of them. But ones for cleansing are generally the very astringent herbs. Your rosemary is great for cleansing. Sage is great for cleansing. Thyme is good for cleansing. Patchouli is good for cleansing and banishing. And you'll find that a number of your herbs are going to have more than one aspect to them. So choose them based on your sense of smell. Which ones are you attracted to? What smells good to you? Like somebody mentioned vanilla. I love vanilla essential oil. It is just so beautiful, and it works so beautifully in perfumes. It's a great ingredient for love spells, and I'm sure that it's also very great for peace as well, because it has a very uplifting, peaceful energy to it, vanilla. So you can use that for incenses or oils where you're feeling you want to pick things up a little bit on an emotional level and feel a little bit more joy, more happy, more free, more peace, that kind of thing. So you can look at what the properties are for the various different incenses and decide, what would I like to bring into the circle today? Or what would I like to bring into my sacred space today? And have a bit of a choice. I have my mains, which is my frankincense and my myrrh, which are pretty much, and dragon's blood. And then I've got a pile of other incenses that are rose. I've got patchouli there. I've got lavender there. I've got clove there. And various different other incenses that I only use occasionally. I don't use them all the time. And yeah, whatever's available to you, that's how I started. What was available to me was rose. I liked the smell of it, so that's what I first started using. I didn't know anything about rose's properties apart from being associated with love. I just liked the smell of rose, and it's where it sort of all started with scents for me when I first started working with these tools. And I think I was even using the rose incense when I did my very first spell, which was actually a money spell. But I didn't have any other incense except rose, so I used that. Okay. Yeah, you only need a small amount. Incenses can be expensive, particularly if they're really good quality incenses and they're actually the real thing. Some of the cheaper ones may not smell as good. They may have other things in them. Incense is a huge deal in places like India, so you can get a lot of Indian incenses because they use it all the time. So you can usually pick up some reasonably inexpensive incense sticks in a lot of stores where they're importing those things from places like India where they're using them all the time. So that's your incenses. So you can asperge yourself by putting the incense around yourself, running your tools for the incense. Your candles can be run through your incense. If you are using the 4 tools, like your wand, your athame, your cup, your pentacle, when you are cleansing them and when you're consecrating them, you can run them through the incense as well. Walk around your circle with your incense. Walk around your space with your incense. If you want to use incense for cleansing your home, I like to use the sticks once again because I don't want too much of a smoky smell or spell. And I go to each corner. In the corner, I'll do a elemental cross, which is just an equal armed cross, with the incense stick in each corner, and then move the incense around near the walls and do that throughout the whole house, working from the back of the home to the front door, and then just letting all of the energy that I don't want out the front door. So it's a wonderful way of cleansing your home using incense as well. Incense sticks make great wands. Yeah. Marjoram and nutmeg. Lovely. And start mixing oils. Yes, mixing oils is fun. It is fun. So we're going to talk about oils next. And we use oils for anointing ourselves. So we might anoint ourselves here at the third eye, at the throat chakra, heart chakra. You might want to put it on your pulses, on each of the palms, and also underneath your feet or on top of your feet as well, so that you're cleansing yourself. Again, we're cleansing essentially and making sacred. So when we're anointing ourselves, we're cleansing ourselves with the oil, so the scent of the oil, the energy in the oils, and also consecrating ourselves, reminding ourselves that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the oils can be used then for spell work, so anointing candles, anointing talismans even, putting them on your petition, like a dab of oil on your petition. You can write sigils with the oil. I like to do that just on a piece of paper and then burn it. The oils can be used to anoint anything that you're using. So I like to still use cash. I think it's important that we use cash because they want to take it off us, and then we can imagine the nightmare that will be. I like to anoint it. You can actually physically anoint cash so that it can come back to you and it can come back to you tenfold, 100-fold. Anointing it and asking it to come back to you. You can anoint it with the glyph of Jupiter for expansion. You can anoint it with your initials. You can anoint it with your witch name. And when you're anointing it, just say, come back to me tenfold, come back to me 100-fold. It's a way of blessing your money and putting it out there and having your money come back to you. And I love working with it that way. I find that working with cash from a magical perspective is the best way to work with money. It's the whole money sort of being in the cyber world, which is more the element of air, is much more tricky to work with, I think, than with witchcraft. We like to physically do things, and when we're anointing, we want to anoint something physical and see that physical object as being it's what the magic is traveling through. It's what's carrying the magic, and we need physical things to carry the magic sometimes, not just this mental mercurial air energy of thinking and focusing. It's great to have these tangible things that can carry the magic and that the magic can connect to on a physical level. You can anoint your wallet. You can anoint something if you're giving a gift and you want to give a blessing to somebody. So you're wanting to give them some good luck with their gift. You can anoint their gift with some good luck oil, something like that if it's a birthday or something. So you can use your oils to put on things that you use or that you are going to give away or circulate. The essential oils have the same properties as the incenses. So you've got rosemary oil for protection. Rosemary oil can also be used as an antibacterial. It's great at killing bacteria. So you can also use essential oils for more medicinal things as well when it comes to things like putting them on your body in some way. Now, there are special considerations you need to make with essential oils. You need to make sure that you don't have particular sensitivities to particular oils, or you've got overly sensitive skin. Some oils are toxic, so you don't want to be putting them on your skin. You may not even want to be touching them, but you don't want to really use the toxic oils. You want to use the ones that are safe. And to dilute them, if you are putting them on your skin, you'll need to dilute them with a carrier oil because they are very, very, very potent essential oils. So you do need to be careful with them so that you're not causing any problems with your skin. When you're anointing a candle or something like that, you can use the full-on oil neat. It's only if you're putting them on your body that you need to really think about having that safety there with the carrier oil. And your carrier oil could be jojoba oil, it could be almond oil, it could be even olive oil, pretty much any oil that doesn't have a strong scent. So a light olive oil you could use, grapeseed oil, I used that a lot for my oils. I like to use the almond oil as well. So that's a carrier oil that you can use and put on your skin. Okay, I'm going to have to go back to the comments because there's okay. Scott Cunningham has an excellent book on incense, oils, and brews. He does, and I will put a link to that in the discussion field under this video because I do have a link to that one, and I've got that book, and it is quite a good book. I have a feeling that blue incense is cleansing, strong, willingly. Blue incense. That could be a blue lotus or something. Scott Cunningham was amazing. Yes, Scott Cunningham was amazing. He was my first first book that I really read on witchcraft when I was curious about actually doing it was actually Scott Cunningham's work. He made it very simple, and a lot of people complain about that. But I think when you're first starting out, simple is better. And why make something complex when you don't need to? You know, why make out, you know, magic's all of this, you know, hocus pocus, this, that, and the other, when really it's not. It's much more simpler than that. We don't need to overcomplicate things. Okay, hi Andrew. Okay, I can't use essential oils because I have a cat. Yeah, so just be careful if you do have a cat, especially burning them. If you're infusing them, you do need to be careful because the oil will go everywhere in an infuser. So if you're diffusing diffusing oils, it's great for the scent and everything, but those oils do end up everywhere. So make sure that if you are diffusing that you are keeping it away from anything that you don't want to get oil in it. I wonder if I can find coconut oil. Yes, you can get coconut oil. You can also get particular coconut oil that you can use for essential oil blends that doesn't have the coconutty aspect to it. I have some of that, but I prefer, if you're wanting an oil that isn't oily oil, then the almond oil is good. If you're wanting something that's a little bit more of an oil feeling, like if you're using it for like a massage oil, then I find grapeseed oil to be great for that. Okay, so many to choose from, but I think I'll get some of them just little by little. Absolutely. What if you're done with the ritual? What is the best way to get rid of the items? Yep, I'll talk about that. Yeah, just throw them away. Yeah. When it comes to your oils or your incenses or anything that you've been using, you can just discard them. You don't have to do anything with them. Like you don't have to go and bury them or anything like that. You can just bin them. And if you can recycle anything, recycle it. But yeah, you can just discard things like incenses. Even the candle remains, they're part of the spell, and traditionally you would go and bury them somewhere or put them into a body of water somewhere. You can still discard them in the bin. It's not going to do anything nasty to your spell. The symbolism of burying it is that you're carrying it through nature and discarding it that way. So that is a more magical way of doing it. But these days, we're a little bit more careful about how much we're polluting the earth. Okay, I've been looking for grapeseed oil for a while, and where can I find grapeseed oil? Well, we have a lot of it here in Australia. You can find it in the supermarket. I don't know if you can find it in the supermarket where you are, but try the supermarket where all the cooking oils are, because it is considered a cooking oil. Although I don't use seed oil, so I don't use it for cooking at all. But it's great for using for, just as a carrier. Items are used for baneful magic, throw away outside. Yes, if you have used them for anything like banishing, curse removals, or anything that's even of a baneful nature, then you would definitely discard them away from your home. I kind of like to do my magic big. Well, do it big. If you like doing it big, do it big. That means you'll probably need a bigger altar then for sure. Okay. So when you're blending your oils, you want to take into consideration what oils go together. You're going to probably have a theme for your ritual or your spell. So you're going to want to blend maybe some oils together that have similar themes, or they work together really well. So you might want, for money, for example, you might want to blend some cinnamon oil with maybe some basil. You could also, I'm thinking of, if you're looking at it from a perfume perspective, you might also want to blend the scent and make it a more palatable scent. So you might want a base note oil, which is generally your resins like your frankincense, patchouli, sandalwood. I think patchouli is great for money magic, so I would use patchouli as a base note for a money magic oil blend. You could then add in something that resonates well with patchouli. So you could use You could use cinnamon, you could use ginger, but they're sort of, you're still getting into your resins there. Basil is great for money. If you're wanting the money to come to you in a way that you love, then you could pop in a little bit of rose or a bit of jasmine, something like that. You can experiment, but you can also find books on oil blends. There's heaps of books on blending oils for spell work. So I might put a few in the description field underneath the video after it's processed. But think about when you're blending your oils, what the purpose of the oil is and how you want to blend it. The same if you're blending your incenses, what goes with what and what would you like. So you can add different herbs, like one herb that's specifically for money, but you might want to bring money in quickly. So that would be something like ginger to bring it in quickly. Something a little bit spicy. It means hot, so it means bringing it in fast. So you could blend those together. You can add some nutmeg for money, for example, because that can bring money in quite quickly. So you can think of how fast do you want it and add a speed herb or spice to your oils as well. We talked about skin sensitivity. Another thing is the herbs themselves. So just the dried herbs or even fresh herbs we can use in Magick. Now you can also anoint your candles with herbs by rolling your candles in the herbs and having the herbs on the candle. You just need to be very careful that when the candle's burning down, that those herbs don't catch light, and because they can be more of a problem when it comes to setting your house on fire than if you're just burning the candle. So you do need to be extra careful with herbs if you're rolling your candle in your herbs. But we do like to work with them with spell work. You can sprinkle the herbs around the candle so they're away from the candle but around your candle, the same way that you would with salt if you're using salt as a crystal or a herb. It's either way. Salt can be either a crystal or a herb in a way. Teas, we use herbs for magical tea. So if you want to use like rose tea and enchant the rose tea and drink that every day, if you're looking for love, you might want to incorporate rose tea in your daily beverage and enchant it every day as you're stirring it, just stirring it with a spoon. And as you're stirring it, you can be saying a little incantation about love flowing to you. Love's flowing to me, love's flowing to me, I am love, the perfect partner is here now, however you want to do your spell or affirmation, you could do that every day just using your herbal tea. And you can also do that for the teas that are for any of their properties. Just make sure that if you are drinking herbal tea, that it's safe to drink, that it's not poisonous, and that the teas are safe to drink. Be very careful with safety when it comes to plants. Most plants in the world are toxic to us quite badly. So you do have to be very careful with plants. And even the herbal plants, the teas and that, these are medicinal as well. So they're very potent in the chemical structure that they have. They have lots of different chemicals in them that you don't want to consume in large quantities. So you do need to be careful with how much of these things you are consuming so that you're not getting too many nasty chemicals going through your body. You just want the magical and all the medicinal. Okay, you can use, again, rosemary for cleansing. You can burn the rosemary, dry it out, and then use it for seining or smudging. You can sprinkle basil or cinnamon or ginger into your wallet or your purse. You can have a money box and you may sprinkle the herbs in your money box. You might have a love box where you like to put some rose petals and maybe some jasmine flowers in a love box. So you can sprinkle the herbs or the flowers into a box or a spell, putting them on your spell. So you may want to just grab some herbs from the supermarket. There's a lot of herbs that we use in cooking, and those cooking herbs are herbs we can use in Magick. So you don't have to go and get elaborate herbs unless you want to, you couldn't afford to. You can just go to the supermarket and get some staples there that you can use in pretty much all spell work. Okay, like cardamom, for example, is great for love magic. And you can pick that up at the supermarket. Yeah, cinnamon's great for money. Cinnamon spice for money. And it brings it in a fast money, similar to nutmeg. Okay, let's go back. To come back to where we are. Go to Walmart and see if they have it. Yeah. I don't know. We don't have a Walmart. We have a Kmart. I don't know if that's the same thing. So last night I lit my black candle and said a few intentions out loud, sealing it with a so motive bee 3 times and rung the golden Hecate bell. It was a triple moon. Awesome. Okay. Black candles are also used for protection. Yes, they are. They are used for protection. Lit them at 3 a.m. and at 7:30 this morning, the fire alarm was going off, but the candle didn't catch anything on fire. The reason the fire alarm was sounding because the spell worked. Yeah, it could be. It could be your symbol that it's all done. Done and dusted. Sometimes, like symbols, when we're looking for signs and symbols that things happen at certain times, that can actually be the universe telling you things. And if anybody has ever read any of Carlos Castaneda's books, he would, Don Juan, his teacher, would say they'd be maybe having a conversation about something and then the broom would fall. And Don Juan would say, the broom agrees. Or something would happen and he would say, something agrees. If it was an object that fell or did something right at a particular moment when they were talking, he would say the broom agrees or the bucket agrees. And I still use that. And I would say that, you know, the fire alarm agrees. I buy most of my herbs in supermarkets and then rinse them out and hang them dry with twine. Awesome. You can grow them as well if you're able to grow them. Definitely a sign. Yeah, always like to get mine at Walmart. Intention is to remove all negative energies and bad luck and send back to return lighting candles. Okay, well, yeah, sounds like it. It rang a bell. Cinnamon spice for money. Cinnamon's good for speeding up spells. Yes. You can use cinnamon in love spells too to speed things up. And also, if you're wanting a romance that's, you know, passionate and spicy, cinnamon's used for that too. So you don't have to just use rose. You could combine it with cinnamon. I probably am going to need a bigger altar. Yes. Protection. Yes, as I said, most herbs and spices have an astringent aspect to them. So that means that they are if they're antibacterial, which most of them are, then you can use them for cleansing. Because when you're looking at what herbs do magically, it's akin to what they do medicinally. And that goes for the toxic herbs as well. What they do physically is also what they do magically. Okay. Just some smoke cleanse like incense, get rid of unwanted energies. Yes, smoke cleansing is great for getting rid of negative energies. Feels like all herbs are good protection. Yeah, pretty much. Ground coffee is great for speeding. Yes, it is. It's a fire. It's got a fire energy as well, so it speeds things up too. And what are good oils or remedies for kids for calming? So you can get lavender is a very beautiful calming herb. Sandalwood can be very calming, although some people get headaches with sandalwood. There's other ones that I used. Neroli is used for calming. Lang Lang is used for calming. Rose is beautiful for calming. And actually really, really beautiful because it's uplifting as well. And here's the Lang Lang. Violet can be very calming. So there's a list there. And of course, you can grow your own herbs and flowers and use them in your spell work too. Another Pretty essential tool we use is candles. They're pretty favourite amongst witches. Candle magic's the most popular magic there is. And because the candles have colours, and even if you're not using colour for your candles, the burning of the candle using that fire magic is something you can focus on. So you can go into trance as you're watching the flame. You can go into repetition with your spell or a mantra while you're watching the flame and get yourself into that nice trance state so that you're connecting to your subconscious mind and able to really then feel into what it feels like to have what it is that you're doing the spell for, as if it's already there. And so candles are great for that because they can create that trance state that you need to sort of be into to connect with your subconscious mind in magic. And they look good, and they feel magical. There's something that feels very magical about candles. Now, you can use color correspondences in your candles too if you want to. So you could have a pink candle for love, you could have a blue candle for peace and tranquility, healing, a green candle for money, white candle for calming and purification. The same with the black candle. Black candle is also for banishing and purification as well. And when you're dealing with your candles, try to get decent quality candles. A lot of people are using beeswax candles these days. You don't need to have colored candles. You can just use a plain white candle. And for any type of magic, that's kind of what we always used in the past before the coloured candles came along, was just a white candle, or beeswax candles, which are a little bit more of a sort of honey colour. It wasn't so much the colour back in the day, it's your intention, that and the flame, the fire aspect of it, that gives it the power. The colour now just helps add that extra bit of energy to it and that extra vibration to it. You can use different types of candles. You can use your soy candles. You can use the beeswax candles. There's other different types of candles out there now if you're wanting to do that. There's different sized candles and shaped candles that you can use too. But if you're just starting out, you can just use your dinner candles or the little chime candles that you can find as well for spells. They only take 2 hours to burn down, so you're not having to stay with the candle until it burns down for hours and hours and hours. It's always important, of course, with candle magic to make sure that you're safe and that you are not creating a fire hazard. So make sure your candles are not near anything inflammable. I like to put mine on a tile, well away from anything that it could catch light on if it did happen to fall over, because candles can fall over. So you want to make sure that it's safe when you're using your candles, but they are a tool that we use a lot of. Other things that we use, and not everyone uses these, are the candles as well. Oh, sorry, crystals. A lot of people love the crystals. The crystals can be very expensive, and so can essential oils. So incenses are probably more affordable, and the raw herbs can be more affordable. The crystals are also used for healing, energy work, and spell work too. They're not absolutely essential, but you can use them. Other tools that are considered essential, particularly from a Wiccan point of view, are your 4 main tools. So this is your cup or chalice, your wand, your athame, and your pentacle. So they are 4 of the big tools. I've done videos on this channel on those particular tools, each one of them, and what they're used for and how to use them. So you can have a look at the playlist and find those. I did them quite a few years ago, so I might do some new ones, I think, and update it. They are the tools that we use more in a Wiccan context. For just witchcraft, plain old witchcraft, you don't need any of those things. You really just would be using the herbs, the oils and the incenses most likely, and your candles. They're really the things you'll be using in a witchcraft practice. But in a Wiccan practice, you would add those other 4 tools, which your cup represents water. It represents the womb. It represents what is containing. It's okay. It's a container. And it represents water because it can hold water. The wand is in most traditions associated with fire, although in some it's associated with air. And it's generally made from wood, usually wood from particular trees, probably more common in the northern hemisphere, but you can make them pretty much out of any wood if you want to make them out of a local wood, like eucalypt, for example, here. The athame is a dagger, and it's usually made from steel, stainless steel, and it has a black hilt on it. So you want to make sure that it is double-sided, because traditionally it's double-sided because it cuts both ways. So it's a double-sided. But some people don't do that. Some people use obsidian. Some people have used other materials on their athames too, and that seems to work quite effectively. It's just traditionally tends to be stainless steel. And then you've got your pentacle, which is just your pentagram in a circle, and that's the earth symbol. So our athame represents air, and the pentacle represents earth. And on the pentacle is often where we put things. We might stand the candles that we're using for spell work on the pentacle. We may put our talismans on the pentacle. It's essentially a shield, and you can use it in shielding magic as a shield, like holding it up as you're doing the magic and as a shield against attack. So it's, I guess you could say it's more of a passive device. It's whereas the athame is more active. Okay, jasmine for meditation. Jasmine is wonderful for meditation. It's good for sleep as well. Another calming herb. I enjoy working with candles in my spells. As blind witch, I prefer to work with scented candles. Yes, well, that would help, yeah, with the smell. I would like to try jasmine too. Jasmine is a flower that is used a lot in love spells. It's very, very beautiful, and it can give you some great dreams. And it's used to create a more harmonious sleep. So if you've got very mild insomnia, so it's just a very mild case of it, it can be helpful. Sunday morning incense for Joe is sandalwood. Awesome. Have I missed anything? Vanilla spice tea is perfect energy tea, and that gives me good morning energy. Also supposed to be good for my focus. That sounds nice, vanilla spice tea. Yeah, I love vanilla. Coffee is my morning spice or herb, or it's a bean actually. It's got that magic get up and go aspect to it. I enjoy working with candles. I saw that one. It's been so hard for me to get the energy to work on moon rituals, which I like, and then I don't want to have tired or bad energy with my intentions. Any tips? So it's been hard to get the energy to work on moon rituals, which you like. Okay, to get the energy. So I guess it's really asking what's taking your energy. What's going on in your life that's robbing you of energy? That's the first place to start. Have a look at that and see where you may be able to change some things that are going on for you to be able to have more energy. It could be anything that's going on for you that's robbing you of your energy. Sleep, are you getting enough sleep? What's your diet like? Are you really busy? Are you crazy busy in your life? Going here, going there, and everywhere? Have a look at what's going on in your life, because while you can use herbs to stimulate, so for example, some of the more stimulating herbs, like rosemary is very stimulating, so it can wake you up. So you could use rosemary oil or rosemary incense before you do your ritual to sort of brighten you up a little bit for the ritual. So you can use the herbs to help with that. Cinnamon can help with that too. It can help brighten you up, and any of the fire herbs can help brighten you up. Even the smell of coffee can help you feel more alive and more bright. So you can try those before you do the ritual, or use those in your ritual when you're starting the ritual, and that will help you feel a little bit more energetic. I'm not Wiccan and have a handmade wand I use daily. I got the wood from a local park, and the stone on top is obsidian wrapped with copper wire. Awesome. And how do you not give your energy away in magic so you don't get drained? This is where energy work comes in. I teach energy work in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, which I will talk about, because you don't want to be using your energy with magic. You want to be able to channel energy. So you're channeling the universal energy or chi to do your magic. So you would do a energy work first to draw up the energy, say from the earth, and bring more energy up into your body. You can bring it in through your crown of your head. You can bring the energy in through the pores of your skin, and making sure that you've got the energy there so that when you put it into the magic, you've actually drawn that energy from the universal energy field, and you're not draining your own energy, because you don't want to drain your own energy. Okay. It's Willis Brothers. Must go. Namaste, Tammy. After work, I'm tired. After a work day? Yeah. So, yeah, try some of those herbs to make you feel better. You could even have a shower when you get home. That can liven you up as well for magic. And it's good to do a shower before you do magic anyway, just so you sort of feel a bit more fresh and a bit more cleansed. In some traditions, you're told you have to have one before you do ritual. Any way that you can sort of transition your energy. You may even want to play some music when you get home from work to liven you up. So music that gets you feeling good, music that gets you into a state of, yeah, this feels good. So play some music, and that can bring your energy back too, because the energy drain from work is probably more a mental drain. So you're probably needing just to have a bit of a change of focus to bring that energy back into your body. I had to learn to ground and center recently. My partner and meet again. Awesome. Okay, so find your supplies. You can find them at metaphysical stores or witchy stores, new age stores. You can find them at dollar stores. We've got $2 shops here now, which I don't think they're $2 shops now. They're more like $5 shops with inflation. But, you know, they sell all that cheap stuff. You can find supplies there. You can find online stores as well. And there's heaps of stuff online where you can buy things online. Even Amazon has a lot of stuff online that you can get. And it's easier, of course, if you're going to a physical shop to choose your tools. You can smell the incenses that way. But sometimes online's the only way you can get things. You don't need to buy anything at once. It's okay to just work with your rose incense like I did. And I think I also had rose oil as well. Just because I like the smell of rose. And keep a journal. You can keep a journal to track what incenses, oils, and herbs that you use and how you use them. When you're doing your Book of Shadows and you're putting the spells in there, you can also put in anything that you've used in there as well, and how that felt using them. So you don't need to spend a lot of money. These are just things that we tend to use. If you go and grab a spell book from somewhere, you're more likely going to find a list of herbs, incenses, or oils that you're going to need to use, and candles that you're going to use. So that's why we would say these are sort of essential to the craft. And traditionally, these things were used in magic all of the time. So they are tools that we've used for a long time. But your intention is the most important thing, and being in the wish fulfilled as if you already are experiencing it, and tune into what it feels like in your heart chakra when you are doing your spell, because you want to feel the emotion of already having it. That's the most important thing. And the tools, they help with that, and they help vibrate that too. But the most important thing is how you feel. Now, if you do want to learn magic and witchcraft with me, I have the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. It's a 12-month course where I teach you right from the get-go the energy work, how to build more energy into your body so that you can use it in your rituals and use it in your spell work. We go through setting up circles, go through the 4 main tools, as well as going through some of the other tools that you can use as well. You will learn spell casting, candle magic particularly, and also the sabbats. So working with the sabbat energy, working with various different deities like Hecate, for example, and working with the lunar rites. The whole point is that you are in an environment where you have other people that you can communicate with, either through Facebook or on the Zoom calls that we do twice a month. And you can have a way of learning and practicing the craft that has a bit of structure to it, so that you're not trying to fumble around trying to figure out, when do I do this and when do I do that and how do I put that together. You start at the beginning with the energy work and you build every month on new things that you do in practice, because it's a practice course. It's not a knowledge only course. It's about you getting down and practicing. And as you practice these things on a daily basis, you get to know these things in more of a way of gnosis rather than just up here. It becomes part of you because you're doing it every day. So it gets you doing things every day. Every month builds on the month before. So you're actually practicing. So by the month 12, you've gone through all of the practices of first degree and a little bit of second degree Wicca. It's not like full-on Wicca either. It's quite eclectic. I don't sort of have that sort of more dogmatic structure, because I do believe that we're really about spirituality and not about religion, because religion can get very fossilized, it gets stuck, and we all know what happens when that happens. Okay. And I think the internet got stuck then too. Okay, so I'll put a link in the chat for the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. And there's also a link in the description field below this video. So you can grab some information there. And if you go to my website, mysterywitchschool.com, you will find all of my courses there, as well as my free stuff like the How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice that we talked about at the beginning. So do have a look at the website, mysterywitchschool.com. And there's a link to that too underneath this video in the description field. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again next week. So blessed be.